Hey everyone, my name is Konasumi, and today I'm going to be playing Among Us for all of you. Well,
Oh.
it's OneShot, but the title screen is Among Us. OneShot is this really cool 2D adventure game with some really cool fourth wall breaking elements and some really cool speed tech, and hopefully everyone enjoys it. Time will begin as soon as I gain control of the protagonist, Nico, and I'll let y'all know when that happens. This game has such cool art. All right, gonna get through these first text boxes. Are you ready on time?
Yeah.
All right, time will begin in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, and we're off. So welcome to OneShot. I'm currently in the house, which serves as the tutorial area. Gonna type in the password, which is a really good computer password. That number is randomly generated, and if you get numbers that are in different spots, it can make the code slower to put in. So this house is going to teach us all about item crafting. I'm going to combine these two items here, the bottle of alcohol and the wet branch. Going to use that to make a spark, light the fireplace, which will show us a key to the basement. And in the basement of this house is going to be a small little light bulb. And this light bulb is something we're going to be carrying throughout the game. It's a very important item. Pretty soon we're going to be entering the outside world, and we're going to go on a mission to return the sun to the center of the world in a huge tower. In a nutshell, the story of the game is that the world is crumbling and falling apart around us. And to restore life to the world, we have to put the sun back. One cool thing about this game's story is that we're not playing as Nico. We're playing as ourselves controlling Nico. Throughout the game, there will be points where pop-up windows will appear and the game will communicate with me as the player. And I'll go into more detail about those as the game progresses. But this is what makes OneShot a really unique experience. So this is the Barrens, the first area of the game. With our Among Drip friend, we're going to be exploring the Barrens and getting some fast travel locations unlocked. Fast traveling is a really important element of OneShot because it saves a lot of walking time as we walk around this world. And the Barrens is the largest of the three worlds, so having fast traveling makes it much, much faster. Pretty soon, I'm going to meet a character called the Prophet Bot, who's going to tell me all about this world. They are a very valuable source of information, but because I've played the game before and know everything about it, I only have to ask one required question. And this question is asking about the computer. And this is the point where we get introduced to Nico. Now that we've done that, I can go to sleep. And the game is closed. To reopen the game, I have to actually reopen the application. So every time you sleep, the game closes, and I think that's just so cool. After every dream sequence, Nico will talk to us about their dream. And there's some tech we can do there to speed it up. If we select the bottom option for those 3 prompts whenever possible, saves a little bit of time. So we just got a crowbar, and we're going to make... oh no, we didn't get a crowbar. We got a metal bar, and we're using it with this machine to create a crowbar. So basically, this game is now Half-Life. So the way I use fast traveling is when I go into a new tile of the world, where it fades off and then fades back in, I immediately fast travel somewhere else and then fast travel back, which saves walking time because the spawn point is further along ahead. I'm going to do that again right here. Back to Lookout Point. And here we're going to meet a character called Silver, who is a robot that's going to be very helpful for us. All the inhabitants of the Barrens are robots. Our current objective is to make a generator or a battery for the generator, which is going to restore life to some of the robots here, which are all powered off and sitting on the ground. One cool feature about OneShot is that it has automatic text mashing, which means that every dialogue box is frame perfect. It didn't used to be this way. For a long time, runners had to mash manually, which was annoying because to mash fast for prolonged periods of time could result in hand pain. And that feature was added to the game by one of its developers, Gur. So we just crafted the battery. That was a really cool crafting sequence. Went pretty well. And we put it into the generator, restoring life to the Barrens. But now we have some cool things here. We have to enter in a safe code to unlock a vault over by the cliffs. My code is 736158. Oop, 158. And this code is randomly generated as well. So it is possible to get a code that slows you down. The intended way to view this code is to look into your documents folder, where you'll find a OneShot document file in there. You open that up with Notepad or whatever you use, and it'll show you the code in the document. It's a really cool puzzle, but the community has allowed the use of the OneShot utility, which automatically reads this code. So here we're getting prepared for the next objective, is to fix a robot. And to do that, we need a bunch of items. Here I just filled smoke with a bottle, and now I need a syringe. I'm going to use the syringe to fill it up with some goo coming out of the ground in just a moment. And I'm also walking over here to the right so I can unlock the old factory fast travel point. And I'm going to be going there right after I do the thing with the syringe. So I'm going to go back to Shrimp Swamp, equip the syringe, and get the fluid. So before we can fix the robot, I have to go to the old factory and get a few things here. There's going to be some gloves and a sponge. Sponge is going to be very important, and the gloves are important to protect our hands. Since the robot is broken and all rusty, we have to use an acidic sponge to clean it up and get it working again. Here I'm going to combine the smoke with the syringe, and then combine the bottle of acid with the sponge, and that's going to give us a wet sponge. And we're going to clean the robot with it, who's just vibing in this boat. This robot is actually called the Robot, R-O-W bot, because it's in a rowboat. But even though we cleaned up the robot, not quite ready yet. We need something called the Amber, which is going to allow it to navigate the sea over to the next area of OneShot. But before that, let's play a game of chess. A very fast game of chess. Unfortunately, we don't win. Silver wins that chess game. So back at the docks, I can equip the Amber, and off we're onto the... Now we're off to the next area of OneShot. And that was just the Barrens. The Barrens, the whole world of OneShot is a giant circular ring with the Barrens on the outside of it. And now we're moving more towards the inside. This next layer of the world is called the Glen, which is a bit more lively. The Barrens is kind of gloomy, but the Glen is really cool. We're going to meet some cool characters and see some really cool sights. So this is the Glen. It's a lot of trees, got some nice water, cool little structures here and there, and also a giant among drip in the distance, just vibing. But yeah, this world is my favorite, I'd say. I like this world and the Refuge equally in terms of styling. So here's Calamus, and we're introduced to our first objective here in the Glen. We have to go find his sister Alula, who is unfortunately stuck in this structure here, and we have to solve a puzzle to get her out. But before I do that, there's a little extra step I have to do. I'm going to be dropping off the sun, the thing that I'm holding, with someone called Maze, who needs it to... Maze wants the sun to be comforted. It needs the warmth of the sun, which is a required task. Ah, cool. Yeah, I just noticed. Gur, aka Cheeser, in the chat is one of the developers of OneShot. Gur has been very, very supportive of the OneShot community. So now that we've dropped off the sun, now we can go free Alula. And by doing this, we're going to be doing another sequence break by the way we solve this puzzle. The puzzle is always the same every time. So as long as we memorize a solution, then we can just do the puzzle without having to talk to the computer and learn what the solution is. I have a cool way of doing that. Check this out. Hopefully I don't mess it up. You do this. Oh, I did that wrong. Let's pretend that didn't happen. This one can be a little tricky to do. Muscle memory for these puzzles. Awesome. First try. Let's go. I'm hyped. This is Alula, and we have successfully saved her. And once we go talk to her, she will now follow us around until she's returned to Calamus. But before we do that, we're going to be doing an extra little side quest. Well, it's not really a side quest in the sense that it's optional, but it's a fun little minigame. Gonna walk all the way over here, through this doorway, and over this way. There's a bunch of rams over here, and they're all in the wrong spots. So for this, we have to go put them all back in the right spaces. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this puzzle, but this is the way I do it. Yeah, those holes in the ground, that's where all the rams have to be. And once they're all in, they sing a little song. And from doing that, we got the wool, which is going to be needed very soon. We're going to need that for another item crafting sequence, so we can trade it and get something that we can craft with. But before that, we saved Calamus, or we saved Alula, returned her to Calamus, and to show their appreciation, we're invited to their home, where they're going to give us a feather. And this feather is going to be our ticket out of here, and on to the next area of OneShot. This game has really cool art. All of it was done by Night Margin, who's a very talented artist, was very involved as a developer. She also posts very funny stuff on Twitter. Would definitely recommend following her. Before we wrap things up in the Glen, we have to go get the sun back that we dropped off at the start here. Now that we have the sun, we can now proceed. Yeah, the Glen is really fun. There's some cool routing, some cool item crafting. But before we go to sleep here in the Glen, I have to talk to this bird and trade the wool. And once we do that, we can warp back to the gate and go to sleep. And once again, the game closes and I have to reopen it. And then we're going to talk to Nico again about their dream they just had, about their village. So the story of OneShot is that Nico is taken from their home world and transported into this video game virtual world. So that's why Nico dreams about their home and seeing their mom again. And our mission is to return the sun, to save the world, and also send Nico back home. That's a pretty key part of the story. So on the way out from the Glen, we have these squares appearing. Very scary, but we can just run from it. And this here is the Refuge, which is the final area of OneShot if you don't count the tower. The tower is in the very center of the Refuge, and we spawn here on the upper level. We can see the entire city below us as we walk along this bridge here. And our main objective right now is to get into an elevator and go down to the ground level. But of course, there is a problem. The elevator is not working right. The button for the elevator is broken, and we have to go fix it. And we can do that by collecting all the pieces needed to construct a button that will fit into the slot. But before we do that, I'm going to go fast travel here, unlock the cafe fast travel, and then go to sleep again. And once I respawn, I'm going to warp back to the cafe fast travel point, which is going to save a lot of walking time. So I'm going to wake the game up. As you can see, Nico is enjoying a very delicious Among Us burger. Gonna talk to Nico again about their dreams. Selecting no is faster, so I'm gonna do that whenever possible. Fast traveling back to the cafe, we can walk inside and get this can. We're gonna be getting a lot of random objects, but crafting them together will allow us to construct a very good button for this elevator here. And now we can walk up here and through this very long hallway. We're going to grab the scissors, and we're also going to grab some fridge magnets. Very important stuff to make a button with. And now we're going to walk over this way to the west and down this staircase. This is a pretty cool room. Looks like some kind of reading lounge or an area to hang out in. It's very cozy. Also, that person has a TV for a head. That's a reoccurring theme for the Refuge. Everyone has heads made out of objects. So before, we have all the pieces now to craft the button, but we need to tape it all together. So right now, I'm going to combine the buttons together to get this magnetized button. But if we put it into the elevator right now, it's just going to fall apart, and the game will rename that item to "You Tried." Because we tried to put it into the elevator and it didn't work. We got to make sure it has tape on it. All right, at this point, the elevator is fixed. And coming up pretty soon is going to be the largest sequence break in OneShot. Really cool trick coming up. Going to enter in this code, which is also skipping a really neat puzzle where you'd have to talk to a computer. It'll display a film on your screen. And then you'd have to move your game window to the edges of your monitor to reveal the code, which is 63014. Really cool puzzle. Unfortunately, it can be skipped because the code is static and it's just the same every single time. So now that we're stuck in the elevator with the lamplighter, this character here, it's faster to socialize with the lamplighter by asking all these questions instead of sitting in awkward silence. It is faster to socialize here instead of selecting the option where you can just sit in awkward silence. At this point, I'm preparing for the largest skip in the game. I'm going to unlock the back alley fast travel point and then unlock the library fast travel point. And then I'm going to warp back to the back alley and unlock the vendor street fast travel point. And then once I do that, we'll go to the library. Oh, that's not the library. That's the library. I'm going to prepare for something called Kip Skip. This skips the entire library card segment of the game. We close the game as we walk into this barrier. And when I do that, Nico will walk through the barrier that prevents you from accessing this area. Getting the library card is a pretty prolonged process. So this skip saves multiple minutes, from what I understand. And now that we did that, we go to sleep again and wake up. So what happened there, we got a strange journal that needs to be translated, and George is the person that can translate it, and we just gave that journal to them. And now that we're awake, enough time's gone by, and we can now pick up the journal. Oh my god. George moved right as I was about to talk to them. All right, now we got the dice. To get out of here, I have to do kip skip yet again. I do the same thing except in the opposite direction, where I walk into the barrier and then I'm able to skip going through that. So we're getting ready for the last part of the game. All of this has gone by really, really fast. And we're about to enter the tower, which is the final area of the game. This is also the part of the game where a lot of mistakes can happen. There's some pretty complicated puzzles here, and I have to make sure that I'm paying attention. So once I enter the tower, it's going to make me close the game. And once I do that and reopen it, it's going to take me inside the tower, which is this very dark void. We do have an emergency meeting, though, so we got to figure out who's sus. You know, there is a computer in this room. I think the computer's kind of sus, so I'm going to talk to it, see what's going on. Computer is kind of sus. Look at it, just standing there menacingly. So here the computer is convincing Nico that their adventure is over, that we don't need to return the sun. But we're not going to listen to that. Instead, we're going to have the Clover program open, which is another program included with OneShot that the game will instruct you to open by changing your desktop wallpaper. But we can just have it open at the start and not have to go through that wallpaper changing process. So here's the final area of OneShot. This can be considered the final boss. So here there is a maze here that I have to go through. Solution's the same every time. You have to go left, up, up, right, left, and then down, down. So I'm going to go right, left, and then down, down. And now we have a bunch of doors. Going to go through 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, and then 2. Yeah, you just memorize the whole door puzzle, and you can do that without the help of the Clover program. You're intended to overlay it on top of the game, which will reveal the correct door you have to go through. It's a very cool puzzle, but runners can just memorize the door order and go from there. It saves a lot of time if you do it that way. So here we have some tile puzzles. You have a much larger grid than the Alula puzzle, which is a very similar puzzle. And now this is the light bulb puzzle. This one is really difficult. It's very easy to mess this one up. So I gotta be extra careful not to mess it up. And I did not. Let's go. That is hype. I'm very happy about that. So once we do that, we're transported to the sky and we find the light bulb yet again. And we're reunited with Nico. We got separated over in the tower, but now we're back. And now that we're reunited, we can go ahead and do another amazing skip. I'm so excited about this one. We can do a kip skip on the stairs by closing the game right as I walk onto it. And that's going to put me into a state of no clip, meaning that I can walk out of bounds wherever I want. I have no collision whatsoever. So meaning I can just walk through this wall, skip all the dialogue in this final hallway, and go into the elevator from the inside. Oh my god, that's so cool. I love that skip. Time will be coming up in about 30-ish seconds, by the way. We're in the final elevator ride up to the tower where we're going to return the light bulb. But it turns out we have to make a choice. If we want to send Nico home, we have to actually break the light bulb. So we have to make a choice. Do we save Nico or do we save the world? It's not an easy choice. Time's coming up in a few moments. And time.
Way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a great run. And I decided to put the light bulb back because it gives a really cool cutscene at the end showing the world. But yeah, that was OneShot. Really good run. What was my final time on that?
Looked to be 24:22.
Nice. That's about 20-ish seconds slower than my personal best. So I'm
Oh
totally
my god.
happy with that.
That's amazing.
That was a really good run. Anyway, if you liked what you saw today and you're interested in trying the game, you should still play it because there is more than what I showed. I'll leave it at that. It's very, very good. Story's awesome. I skipped a lot of the dialogue, so there's definitely a lot to be seen from there. It's one of my favorite games ever, and I'm very glad that I was given the opportunity to share it speedrun here at Mid-Spring Speed Fling. I want to give a
thank you for showing it.
Yeah, it's an honor. I want to give a big shout out to the OneShot community for being really cool and wholesome and very welcoming, and also to all of the OneShot developers for their extremely awesome support and love they have for the speedrunning community. Gur, aka Cheezer, was hanging out in chat earlier. But yeah, devs are awesome, community's awesome. It's a very cool place to be. If you're looking for a cool 2D RPG maker game to run, I would certainly recommend OneShot. It's a very short run, very easy to learn, and I love it. It's great. It's great. Yeah, I think that's all I got. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it.